per second, which means two things. You can either watch it back at full speed for ridiculously fluid footage, or that's also enough frames to be able to slow the video down 4 times and still have a smooth output. Let me put this another way. You can take slow-mo in 4K resolution. So for perspective, this is the Sony Xperia Pro I versus the iPhone 13 Pro, which, as far as I'm aware, has the second nicest looking slow-mo. See, Sony's added in a third microphone. It actually sits right next to this main camera here to improve speech pickup. And I'm not gonna lie, it sounds really good, although not exactly a unique feature because Apple and Samsung's latest also have something pretty similar. And D, not 1, not 2, but actually 3 separate camera applications. So one is Photo Pro, which can take both photos and videos. One is Video Pro, which is focused on being able to record just professional video, but video that's ready for immediate shooting and uploading, so for YouTubers. And then Cinema Pro, which gives you even more options, more color profiles, more aspect ratios, and this shoots 10-bit footage made for post-processing, for people who will want to upload into a proper editing program and do everything from scratch how you would on a cinema cam. Now, to be honest, while it is of course impressive that Sony's created 3 separate applications just to capture footage, I'm not convinced that the fact that they felt like they needed to is necessarily a good thing. Isn't it a bit like you go to a restaurant, you order a meal, and then the 3 separate parts of your meal are served on different plates? I can't quite understand why all these features couldn't have just been bundled into one camera app with 3 different modes, so you could easily flip between them. And on that note, there are 2 things that I'm not a fan of. The first is that while it is refreshing that Sony's footage looks pure and almost untouched, based on this early look, it does seem to also mean that you lose the luxury of that slightly processed looking but still nice high dynamic range that you might get on, say, the iPhone. But also, this high-end main camera is really quite wide, and I think it would have benefited from having more magnification. You probably noticed on a lot of the shots we've taken with it how things just look a bit distorted. That's because we've had to go right up close to them. And also, lenses with more magnification also just naturally have more background blur.
I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is Mike Salvino. He is CEO of DXC Technology. Mike, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Judy, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure is mine. So now, talk to me about the company. Tell me about DXC Technology and what makes you unique.
Okay, so we are a $17 billion company with 130,000 people. And there's 3 things that make us unique. The first thing is our customer base. We have roughly half of the Fortune 500 as customers, and we literally do their mission critical systems. And we just had an investor day in June, and American Airlines and Lloyd's probably said it the best. They basically said planes don't fly and markets don't operate without DXC. So we do the day-to-day mission critical services for those customers. That's the first thing. Second thing is what we call the enterprise technology stack. We can do the entire stack. A lot of our competition can. What that means is we do infrastructure outsourcing, we do workplace services. That's so important. We just talked about you being virtual and now being back. Those workplace services are very key. And then applications, analytics, and then cloud and security. We have the scope and scale to do all that, which makes us, again, unique. And then the last one is our people first strategy. What we're here doing today was celebrating the new team. We are very focused on retaining and attracting our talent. What people just saw was the new leadership team of DXE, and our story is really resonating in the market to attract really good talent because, as you know, talent follows talent. So I'd say those 3 things: our customers, the enterprise technology stack, and our people first strategy.
Okay, now you've been on a transformation journey.
Yes.
Tell me about this journey.
So the journey is a very structured playbook, and we're in the second phase, and that phase is called Build the Foundation for Growth. And we execute each phase with 5 steps that we call this transformation journey. So the very first step is inspire and take care of our people. We just said that. When I took over as CEO, we had a very uninspired workforce, and now that workforce is inspired and it's engaged. As you can see, we've increased our employee engagement. The second step on that, Judy, on the journey is focus on our customers. So we talked about the nearly half Fortune 500 customers. We have raised our NPS score by 44
Знаешь, вот как
points.
это, она про себя, ну вот она о себе так думала, да-да, про себя говорит.
And the reason for that is our customers now see us as proactive and innovative, not just delivering. And that's the single biggest reason why we're stabilizing our revenue. The third step on this journey is optimize cost. It's basically simplifying our company. We were too complex for our customers and our colleagues to do business with. Now we're much more simpler, and it's raising our margin. And then the fourth is seize the market. Seize the market means win in the market. When I got here, we were losing, now we're winning, and you can see we're doing that because our book-to-bill for the last 5 quarters has been over a 1.0. And the last one is our financial foundation. That's the fifth. And when I say financial, or the foundation of the finances, the key thing there is this investment grade profile. We paid down $7 billion of debt, and we've improved our cash flow and our earnings power. So that puts us on a trajectory that most of the market's talking about. It's really positive.
All right, now it's your 2-year anniversary at DXC.
Thanks.
So now when you look back over the past 2 years, what accomplishments are you most proud of?
I think it's the same for you, right? I'm very focused on our colleagues know we care about them, and we're looking to retain them. Our customers know we're delivering for them, and we're being very proactive. And then that financial foundation, because our numbers are a lot more easier to understand and transparent. So that stuff, that matters, because that's the thing that's propelling our trajectory.
Okay, now finally, Mike. This past June, you launched a new brand. And actually, it's right here behind us. You just rang the closing bell a short while ago to highlight that. Tell me about the rebrand.
Okay, the rebrand, first of all, it's innovative. So it's a palindrome. So right to left, left to right, it still reads DXC. And on top of that, when you look at the brand, you'll see 2 arrows pointing to the X. And that stands for all the people, including me, to remember to deliver excellence for our customers and colleagues. So, listen, on behalf of everybody at DXC, we wanted to thank you and the New York Stock Exchange for having us today. We've got a little gift here for you. It's a scarf. Once in a lifetime scarf made by Vineyard Vines. All right, so they do quality work. We want you to have that, and hopefully you wear it proudly.
Thank you very much. And the scarf looks just like your tie there.
Yes, very much so.
Very impressive. Thank you so much.
Judy,
it's been a pleasure. Congratulations on your 2 years. Congratulations on the rebrand, and it's great to have you on NYC Floor Talk.
Judy, thanks.
But all this takes us to number 1. The thing that takes this video beyond any phone I've ever used. This is the vlog monitor, and it's one of the most supremely extra accessories that I've ever seen launched with a smartphone. Check this out. You mount the phone into the Bluetooth handle. There's a magnetic area where the monitor slides in. You connect the monitor to the phone via USB-C, and bam, you now have a secondary display to be able to use the front camera to vlog. Now, to get the obvious out of the way, this is like a $200 accessory, which when added to the price of the phone makes it literally a $2,000 package, so it's not fair to compare its results to phones that are half the price, but the results are phenomenal. Like, this is footage where both the video and the audio is being captured on the phone. You gotta admit, there's a certain cinematic quality that's pretty unmatched right now. Worth mentioning, though, is that without this gadget, the actual front camera footage is not the best. So, that brings me on to the big question. I am pretty much the target consumer for the Xperia Pro I. I love cameras, I use Sony gear, making content is literally my job. This is clearly a very advanced phone for a very advanced price. Does it seem worth it? I do need to stress here that this is not a review. The phone I've got here is not final, and I haven't been able to test the zoom camera because it isn't working yet. This is just an opinion based on what I've seen so far. But yeah, you're paying for a pro experience, and I can confirm you are getting a pro experience. For someone who really knows what they're doing, this is a fun, versatile, joyfully unencumbered experience, which can produce results so far not seen on a smartphone. That said, is it in itself a bit of a contradiction? Because won't most of the people that this is being targeted towards already have and would rather use an even better camera? And because, for everyone else, average consumers, it is too much. If I think of all the people in my life who aren't camera enthusiasts, I think they'd all end up with better results from a Google Pixel 6, which is far less pro, but smarter, easier to use, and just as fast of a phone. Oh, yeah, and it's like exactly 1/3 of the price. I think Sony is very aware of this though, and if you were to ask me why, like, why is Sony putting so much effort into a phone that they know is only going to sell in the thousands, I actually think the answer is marketing. I think there's a certain kudos to owning technically the best phone money can buy, even if it's not a good value phone in of itself. Sony doesn't have a strong foothold in the smartphone market right now, and so I reckon their entire objective with this is to just sit as a showpiece. To leverage the power of their other pro brands, like Bravia TVs, like Alpha cameras, which enthusiasts already approve of, to make a pinnacle smartphone that's good enough to drive conversation. Conversation from pros, with the hope that pros are going to be the ones with influence, so the word of mouth that they generate could potentially trickle down into just positive associations for Sony phones in general. And I just want to cap this off by saying, this Xperia Pro I, while I wouldn't recommend buying it to most people I know, it does make me excited about Sony's future. They seem like pretty much the only brand who's actually trying to make a phone for enthusiasts, who also have the resources to be able to follow through and deliver on that. And if Sony can stay ahead on the hardware curve like this, while finding a way to distill the essence of Sony Corporation and all its various technologies into a more streamlined and visually simple interface, I think they have all the ingredients of a hit phone. Okay, here's something to think about for a second. Your location, your operating system, every hardware detail of the device you're on right now, as well as all your past browsing history. These are things that you'd want to keep to yourself, right? Well, this is how much information a website immediately knows about you the second you click on it. And to be honest, if it's a website you trust, then it's fine. But there's probably a fair few that you visit that you wouldn't want to know this. And that's where Surfshark VPN comes in. As far as I've seen, it's the most affordable way to keep yourself anonymous. It's just over $2 a month for as many people and devices as you want, but there's another perk. Because you can effectively pick the location that you want your device to come from, I can, for example, pick the US and watch US TV shows. You can effectively have the exclusives for every single region without leaving your home. Like if I want to watch Batman the Dark Knight, I just switch to Canada, and I can do that. So, check the link in the description and use the code BOSS. That'll give you 83% off and an extra 3 months for free. To find out why the Galaxy S22 Ultra is looking super exciting, click here. Or to understand the precarious situation that Huawei's found themselves in, click here. And my name is Aaron. This is Mr. Who's the Boss. I'll catch you in the next one.
Нет, наоборот. Что смотрите? О! Ух ты! Ух ты! Кто здесь? Чем так? Ну-ка. Хуй за нос.
Телега-Н – это простой и эффективный способ размещения рекламы в Telegram. Продвигайте свои товары и услуги.
Жди там что-то.
Тренировка, смотри, все дело тренировка. Оно тренированное постоянно. Мозги тоже тренировка. Постоянно, да. Дыхание, ну, на себя так делаю. Да, делает автоматизма, но автоматизм это немножко не то. Может сломаться и будет.
Ладно.
Вообще кто-то думает о том, как он ходит, как его, ну, да, как он дышит, как все это,
Да. Вот это он. Ну,
So, when these new MacBook Pros got announced, my first thought was, I wonder if we can retire the travel iMac. Because some of you might not know this, but whenever I'd go for the past couple of years to a tech event that I planned on making a video at, I literally packed up a maxed out iMac Pro, put it in a huge Pelican case, and lugged it with me. Like, there's countless times y'all would catch me rolling this huge box behind me through the airport. And that's because it's been the smallest machine that I could take with me to one of those events that could render and edit and export a video that wouldn't take overnight. Now, this Apple Silicon transition for Macs has been pretty impressive, and I think this is the first time I can truly say something is actually next level. These laptops have been next level. So these are the new 14-inch and 16-inch 2021 MacBook Pros, and they're incredible for a number of reasons. Now, at the end of the day, they're just tools used to get a job done. And the fact is, everyone has a slightly different thing that they want to get done. For me, it's making these videos. So we'll get to that in a second. But, man, they have made a big jump, both on the inside and the outside of these laptops. So let's start on the outside. So these laptops have a new top-notch design. It still looks like a MacBook Pro, but I like pretty much all of the changes they've made. So the whole shape is squared off a bit, and it resembles those old aluminum PowerBooks, just more modernized. And just aesthetically, you can see they've made these laptops thicker, like noticeably thicker, and that is totally fine with me. And it has plenty of benefits, and it also stands up a little bit higher on those taller feet, which seemingly gives it a bit more room for those back and side vents for better ventilation, although I've never heard the fans spin up audibly on these laptops. The Apple logo on the back, slightly larger, and there's a little engraving at the bottom now where they carved in the MacBook Pro text. That's kind of nice. But functionally, as you've probably noticed, yeah, there's ports now. There are real ports. And this really shouldn't be a big deal, but this is one of the few things that Apple has actually walked back from the last few years of MacBook Pros that haven't had these ports. So while it feels like kind of silly to celebrate them, I am happy that they're back. So on the right side, that's a full-size HDMI port. Welcome back. Then you have one of the Thunderbolt 4 ports and a full-size half-depth SD card slot. This is beautiful. I use an SD card.
Wolfenstein. Ох, что там, Эйнштейн, что ли? Или типа, или что? И варьёс в Эйнштейне? Или что это? Ну нет, это просто даже интересно как-то. 25 минут до Эйнштейна. Интересно. Нет,
Течбуреш, эфирный ворёс начтон мы студии уже Юлия Мурзина наращивак чагвал чешариш. Шайрамы ковиден юрешко не уже диос ажлентишко, кытын санитар фурон ёстытиящё строзге спумишко. Эльколанда нокун муртиосы строзге слуизы тодматомы одигены соспылыш. Odmurtiš vyžnadašio sokdedlu už ze zvoštýzy na multiplikatorius luizy kinvormi spulsupo konkursem.
Где я делаю?
Нуналы буде Удмуртин куйшу витонлеш тросулошчо смылан коронавирус инфекция шараешке жаляса верано тапалашки щерлеш кулон учурьёсно пусишко. Эльконен вакцинация ажлантишке. Нокуришке. Октябрь коммуну дуовтя России шулос ёсты баштоноке кыщи жиметин тинсылевал. Тадырлы таскакет ежутешкизни. Эльконамы ковидлеш утишкот препарат ёстырмыт ваймын. Щёкы жвей чуждозалеш трос. Спутник вивутымын и ворте Удмуртырылана кивалтырдыр пресс-служба есть. Но что за изучен Элькун министерствон пресс-служба изверамия Удмуртин ковид-вещелеш вакцина пуктонитоз шоркун монено уже сажлянтозы. Кочкуд нунал прививкалеш тынылы тазалыкия центрын.
No change. Isn't that better? I was trying to do something extreme. I was trying to get a legato. Oh, without the pedal, okay. No
It's too dry.
Sometimes I like dry.
Look at here. You play Beethoven your way, and I'll play Beethoven his way.
Is it too flexible?
The highlight was that with the pedal, right? Pedal, 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 pedal. You know, that's portato.
Mm-hmm.
But all portatos should be with the pedal, like you just did, not.
Right. Even though he writes a dot, he writes it under the slur, right?
What does he write?
He writes
the
it-
dots.
Dots and a slur.
That's portato.
So this with pedal, each gets its own strum.
That's right.
Now,
That was the highlight.
so that means I could have improved other
So
aspects.
what wasn't good was this.
I don't think I did that.
That D flat is a passing down.
D flat was too loud.
And you actually did this. You moved 5 to that, as though it were a new phrase.
Well, this brings up the question of, do we emphasize passing tones sometimes to send the line forward?
It all depends on what nature they're playing.
Now,
This one is passing.
what I find so hard about it is really making it sing like a tenor or a cello, because of course the piano is, the moment you play it, it's decaying. I can't sustain the line, I can't give it vibrato, I can't give it a glow.
Show me.
So, I wanted to.
Well, that's,
It's better.
now you made yourself into a further problem. Before you played the E flat louder. Now you're playing it softer.
So it's hard to
So,
go anywhere.
because now you're in serious trouble. I'm out of alignment. That was much too much. Sort of like a blowgun. A really speeding drop. This is too fast for you. These little notes. It sounds like you're trying to subdue them, but they should be subdued. You know what I mean? They're in one impulse. And that. When I say one impulse, I mean like this, and not like this. Tiny bit here, look. See, I'm giving the impression that this B flat is going to rise. This note is too loud on my piano. You see, this is interesting. When we do a lot of reading, and we read descriptions of great artists playing by their colleagues, Schindler has a blow-by-blow description of Beethoven playing this. That sonata, if you would read the description, Beethoven was playing in New York. He's playing like Brahms. He's playing Beethoven like Brahms. Here's Schindler. At bar 7, it was as though he beheld the eyes of his beloved, and he suddenly slackened the tempo. And the description of the playing is every few bars with a different tempo.
In Schnabel's editions, he writes every few passages or so a new
metronome
marking too.
Clifford Curzon told me, he was his favorite pupil. Schnabel was walking with him on Central Park once. They took walks together. He said, a lovely young woman came to play for me today, the Appassionata Sonata. And she changed the tempo every measure. I said, why are you changing the tempo? Mr. Schnabel, I studied it from your edition. So Schnabel told Clifford he was going to have the entire edition wiped out. He was going to take it all away and make a new edition, and he died.
I think he intended those tempo changes to be subtle and imperceptible.
Gentle rubato.
But also not perceptible as a change of tempo per se.
That's absolutely so, of course.
Change of mood, of texture.
He meant well, but he created a problem.
I
anyway, did you hear what I was doing on that